Woo! Welcome to another episode of the Gridiron, ladies and gentlemen. It is the show of a show. It's about a show, and it's about a game, and we're about to have some fun. And hope you enjoy your time. For all the ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the grandmammies, the grandpappies, the he's, the theys, the thems, the whatever else you want to add into the dictionary of identifying people. It's a Sideline Junkies podcast network production in conjunction with Clear Production Sports. This is what they call the Gridiron. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gridiron. Strap your cleats up. Let's go. Tighten up your pads. Pull your jersey down. Let's get ready to click clap because it's about to get going. And we starting off with the recap of the end of the season because our teams in this league had some very big wins coming down the stretch. First and foremost, the boss man BJ. Big shout out. Winning the Penn State. Late game. Penn State scores on a late drive, goes up 31-28. The boss man returns a kickoff to win the ball game with 22 seconds left. Knocks Penn State out of the end season or the conference game and allows Oregon, which is a team in the league, to play Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. Another unheralded coach, the coach from Colorado, who we thought was on a hot seat. We thought his hot seat was hotter than hell. But the last couple of weeks, the way he changed his offense up, he re-identified himself. Now, I don't know how he did that, but he changed the identity of the ball club. And down the stretch, he took out, I think Oklahoma State was the number 5 team in the country at the time they played him. And he knocked them off their perch. Then we had some great conference game matchups that we'll get to later because our teams in this league were represented. And now let's go back to the beginning. This is the Gridiron. This is a show based on the Junkies 2024 college football 25 season. And all the comments and all the things are based off of the video games that these guys have played all season long. And again, we're not going to be here for an hour and 20 minutes like the Sideline Junkies do on the Sunday Rise, the Thursday Night Throwdown. The Thursday Night Flight. The Tuesday Night Flight, the Thursday Throwdown, and the Sunday Rise. KG, you got to catch me on that.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
I'm too amped up right now. But as you can see, before we even get started into anything else, let's just talk about the teams that were in this league. So Michigan 13-0, Alabama 13-0, Miami 11-2, Texas 10-4, Oregon 9-4, Notre Dame 9-3, Maryland 8-4, FSU 7-5, Colorado 5-7, TCU 4-8. And it's funny, KG, because I know you and I have talked a bunch about this. And I think you and I are very heavy on the two guys that actually missed the bowl games. Like Colorado and TCU, for us, we think they have good offenses in place. And I think they just had bad luck early on. And I think they took some time to find themselves. Like they didn't know what they were, but all of a sudden there's a little song that says, "Don't be afraid of the way you feel," and I think that's what they are. They got to a point where they weren't afraid of it, and they found their identity in the places afterwards. And Colorado should be probably 3-10, but instead they were 5-7, because they found something at the end of the year. They found the place, they found a running game. And the only reason they missed out is because they didn't find it earlier. Am I off base on that, KG?
No, sir. You are absolutely right. And the coach of Colorado may be joining us shortly, but I said it to myself, and I said I was going to save it because it was content. When it comes to TCU and Coach Ross, Coach Xavier at Colorado, I am afraid going into the next season,
right?
Because Ross has a 5-star defensive tackle.
Yes, sir.
That is coming into his program next year. Not only that, Ross wanted to strengthen up on defense. His offense is explosive. Yes. I'm afraid that Ross is going to lead the nation in scoring for that simple fact. Then when you go over to Coach Xavier, he's found his comfort zone, but I would rather let him speak on it. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us this morning, coach of the Colorado Buffaloes in college football 25, none other than Coach Xavier. Coach Xavier, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I am feeling good. Got my 2 wins for the rest of the season. Feeling good.
Coach, if you don't mind me asking, I felt like you had a pivot moment. When do you think the pivot happened? Because your offense changed drastically at a certain point in the season. Can you tell me what that point was?
Uh, while I'm not playing, I'm playing online against other people.
Okay.
Had to steal a playbook.
All good. Because
So
what I called it, because I watched Dario, yourself, and the big guy KG. I call y'all the conjunction junction. And I don't know if you're not old enough to know what that is, and you don't know what the function is. But the way you guys operated, everybody found a place in a running game playbook. And it was like all your teams took off. I think the difference was Dario had a better running game coming into it, and his just expanded and got better. KG found his place in his schedule, and then he exploded. Instead of being a team that probably should have been 6-6, he was 9-3. And you found your place being a team that even at 5-7, you probably should have been worse than that because you were struggling early. So, what about the run game for you made you want to like sink your teeth in it and like make that your main thing?
figured to slide the line a little bit. Slide the line, however, which way I'm going.
Yes, I saw that.
And then if I see that it's a blitz coming, I either switch the play to a pass play.
So do you like in your free time? Do you call Andy Reid and ask him about screens? Cause you're a big screen guy too.
Yeah, I do.
No,
Gotta use the
I love
screen.
it. I like you have this nice mix. You run game, you screen game, and then you run everything off of it. What I want to say to you first and foremost, just as a person watching the games, I'm proud of the way you transitioned your team during the season. I did find out that you fired one of your coaches.
Not yet. I'm about to.
Oh, okay. Because the rumor was that you called him on Christmas Day and said Merry Christmas, talk to the kids, and then you hung up and then you called him back and said you're fired. That's not true?
Oh no, it is.
Oh, okay.
He gave up too many passes for me for my liking.
Okay.
In a game that should have been a blowout.
Okay. So do you have a type in mind for your next DC, or you're just gonna figure out what's best on the market?
I'm gonna try to figure out what's best on the market.
All right, Coach. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, and I appreciate you jumping on with us. I know some of it was a little well, never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. But thank you for your time this morning. Have a great day, Coach. Have a great recruiting season. Before I go, do you have any recruits that like a 5-star or 4-star that you got right now that you want to announce, or you haven't gotten to that point yet?
I got a few people committed to my school. I don't know what their stars are yet.
Okay.
So I gotta go back and look.
Do you have a quarterback? Because I'm concerned with Shador. I think he's probably going to jump out early. So do you have a QB that's in the hopper?
Yep, that was the first person that committed.
All right, cool. Good luck, Coach. I appreciate your time. We appreciate you giving us, with your busy schedule, doing what you're doing. Have a great, successful next season. And we'll look forward to talking to you during the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. KG, talk to me. Where are we going next?
Well, since we were talking about it and we're at the end of the season, I think we should do some awards. Let's go through some awards.
Yes, definitely.
First award up was the Heisman Trophy. Coach Cromartie at Michigan took Donovan Edwards, 2,927 yards and 38 touchdowns to the Heisman.
Good God Almighty!
Yes. Let me pull up the Heisman race. Where's my Heisman race at?
I know if at some point I thought I think it was the Martinez kid from Miami. I thought he might have a chance. I didn't even think about some of the other. That's the best head coach.
I'm sorry.
No, that's even better. Let's start there. No, let's go back there. So the best head coach award, we have Coach Cromartie from Michigan. I think that's D-Mac, if our memory serves me right. Drillis Juice, I think that's Dario with Alabama. Mack is fourth with Miami. And then that's it. But I think I just love the fact that our coaches are being represented in the top parts of this league. You know, we had 3 of the top 4 coaches in this past season that just went along. Let's go to the next slide. What's the next? Is it the Heisman one next?
Nope. We're gonna go best center was the Remington Trophy.
Okay.
And that was won by Alabama's Parker Brailsford.
That talks a lot about their run game because they were very run heavy.
Next up is the Jet Award for Best Special Teams Returner. And Texas.
I got an issue right here. I got an issue already. Because I don't know how many returns he broke for touchdowns. Because the kid that played at Maryland with the 2 returns against Penn State, there's no way he shouldn't be on this list in any way, shape, or form. I like Ray Joseph from Miami, but there he is, Octavius Smith. I see him at 7. I'm sorry, but I think he should be higher because he actually won his team a big ball game late in the season. Who we got next?
Next up is your Outland Trophy winner for Best Interior Lineman.
Well, it only makes sense that the center wins that again. Looks like we got Roberts from Alabama, and that's the only 2 I see from usually led teams.
Yep. Then you got Best Tight End, which is the John Mackey Award, and that was won by Colston Loveland of Michigan.
I think if you ask BJ, I think Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame should have been in this, but his offense coordinator wouldn't get him the ball. But that's a conversation for another day and another time. Also see 2 users at 6, Amari Niblack from Texas, and then Brad. I'm gonna let you have that. Not Brad. I'm sorry.
Elijah Arroyo.
Elijah Arroyo. There we go. I'm sorry.
Next up, you have the Butkus Award, won by another Alabama player. He had Coach Dario had 2 players up for the best linebacker. Michigan had 3. So your top 5 players from 2 schools, all user control.
And then we got number 8. It looks like Oregon. Looks like Bassa.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeffrey Bassa. This is how I know I'm old because I gotta take my glasses off to see the little small writing. I'm a couple steps away from what's those things called?
What your bifocals?
Yeah, I'm a couple steps away from bifocals.
Next up is your best running back, which is the Doak Walker Award. You had Donovan Edwards, of course, number 1, Jordan James, Damian Martinez, Justin Haynes, and Jeremiah Love are your top 5 for best running backs.
And that's all 5 users. And we said this at I think last episode. We said we were probably around week 10 at that point. And we played 3 weeks after that. And we said that there was a big focus on the running game in this league. And it shows because the top 5 teams, I think all these teams have made bowl games, and 4 of the top 5 are in the playoffs.
Yeah. That is true. Next up is the Jim Thorpe Award, and
Oh,
that is dominated 1 through 10 by all users.
I'm surprised Jabari Muhammad is second on this. Page must have a heck of a lot of interceptions because I know at one point Muhammad had 8. So, but yeah, I love the fact that all our users are right here in the mix. And I'm gonna tell you now, I'm gonna caution anybody that plays Alabama because they found something. They found a golden nugget. They found an Easter egg somewhere. Because when they play defense and passes are thrown, especially deep on them, they have a way. I don't know what it is yet. It's not the force, but it's something where they get a lot of picks on deep passes in this game.
Agreed. Next up is the Lombardi Award. Ruben Bain, who was in contention
For the Heisman.
for the Heisman.
Yeah. And look at that. Look at the top 5, 6. The top 6 all users again.
Yep. And LT Overton was also in contention for the Heisman at one point in time from Alabama.
And it looks like we got 8 of the top 10 are all user-led teams. So our users are very active when it comes to getting sacks and putting pressure on the quarterback.
Next up, that was the best defensive end. Next up, what we have here, we got best head coach. We talked about that. So let me get that out of the way.
I think we covered all the positions. I think we're good.
There's your Heisman Trophy.
There we go.
There it is. That's what I was looking for.
And this is perfect. I mean, if you watched our league, if you paid attention to the YouTubes, and if you haven't, we're going to try to make sure we get a better platform to get you more of the YouTubes. But yeah, Donovan Edwards has been him. I think they call it the Him Award on Monday Night Countdown. He's been him all year long, and Bain has been great too. I'm just surprised that the Miami running back wasn't in this consideration, but yeah, this is a great group.
Absolutely, and I wish they had how close it was.
Right.
Now you see that last game at the bottom for Donovan Edwards against Oregon, which was the Big Ten championship game. 18 carries, 197, 3 touchdowns. We got to jump into that. Let's jump into the conference. Oh, let's not forget best defensive player. I think we got that. That was Ruben Bain for best defensive player. All right, conference. The first showdown was Miami versus Oregon.
This was a classic. I think to the very end, both teams were in this ball game, and I think the only thing was just like I just kept feeling like if Jim had the right chance, but Michigan just Donovan Edwards. It was like every time you thought Oregon was good, Donovan Edwards would make a play, and he would just change the ball game. He was definitely a factor back in this ball game.
Speaking of Jim, I'm gonna tell you where Jim can really get you at, and this is not me scouting. I've watched Jim play for close to 25 years. I've watched him play. I've watched Coach Darnell play close to 25 years. And one thing I can say about Jim, he likes to rope it dope. He'll get you focused on the run. And as soon as you move up in the box and he see it, he say, I got him. And Jim will unleash a bomb. And it's just like over the top. And it's 6. And it's such a success rate. But this game right here was a knockdown, drag out fight. It was a rematch of a game earlier in the season.
It was our Sunday. I think it was our special game early on in the season.
Yes, it was.
Actually, I think it was the key to our first episode.
It was. It absolutely was. Next up, Miami. Miami couldn't get it done against Clemson.
Let's just say Dabo was dancing.
They dropped the ACC championship 42-14. Don't everything didn't really go
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
If you could call a game a can't get right game, this was a can't get right game for Miami. Like they made mistakes early that Miami doesn't make. I think the running back fumbled twice in the first 4 possessions, if memory serves me correctly. So they struggle out of the gate. They got themselves in a big hole, and it was just one of those things where all of a sudden they just couldn't fix it. They couldn't right the ship.
And if you look at it as just looking at stats,
Right.
The telling tale, third down conversion, 1 for
Yes, sir.
5 on third downs. That's your telling tale.
Yes, sir.
Next up was your final user played conference game for the SEC championship, Alabama versus Texas. This game wasn't close. It's close in the end, but it wasn't close before.
Right.
Texas scored 2 late touchdowns, but Alabama ran away with this, and they got out early.
That Alabama running game is special.
Yes,
it's elite. I'm talking about this is like if Joe Gibbs was coaching class on running a game. This is Joe Gibbs' version of whatever they're running. It is top level. It's the Hogs. We call him 50 gut. We call him 50 gut, and you gotta deal with it. This is a beautiful thing.
Indeed, it is. And looking at this, and watching this game, the running game was on display for Alabama. Sir. Alabama's normally a passing team, but the running game was on display. 245 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns.
Well, the kid Haynes is always over 100, it seems like. But they got both running backs involved in this ball game, so it was special.
And looking ahead, we have the playoff bracket. So right now, you have your buys are number 1 Michigan. Michigan leapfrogged over Alabama, knocked Alabama to number 2. So number 1 Michigan, number 2 Alabama, number 3 Utah, number 4 Clemson. That number 4 spot was actually reserved for Miami.
Right.
And Miami lost.
But the good thing is Miami gets Jimmy. I don't know. Is that matchup another one of those matchups where they've been 20 years plus and they've been going at?
I think this is maybe 7-8 years, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
But now, as I said before, Oregon and Michigan, Donnell and Jimmy have history. Okay. Little backstory. Donnell this is PlayStation 2. We used to do Madden tournaments at his house. So you would take and have a draft. It was like you took through all the players in the pool. You picked the team, and that team you had, and everybody that didn't pick a team, or any team that wasn't picked, you picked the players from that team. And then you made trades and you made things like that, and we had a Madden tournament. And when you had that going, he set up the brackets, all pen and paper, by himself, and said, this is, you would pick numbers out of the hat and see what your seed was, and you go from there. And the boss BJ said 13 plus years for Miami and Oregon. That's Jimmy and Rowe.
Like I don't know. So I know I've played against my buddies from college, and like we talk about like the different offenses that people run. Like my buddy Kel, he was a defensive savant. Like he could blitz 8 people and still have 7 people in coverage. My boy T was he took the air out of the football. He was the 3 yards in a cloud of dust guy, and I was the fireworks guy. So I can only imagine 13 years playing against somebody. Like, what they want. You know what they like. You don't need a scouting report. You don't need to pregame or pre-scout, because they are who they are. And that's one of the things that we all are as gamers. We are who we are to a default. We all have identities, and we live to our identity.
Now, I'll say this. my identity has changed over the years, and I always say that's due to the game evolving. But
Right.
my identity when I first started out was come out, get as many yards in the kickoff as I can, one play, touchdown, and then I'll play defense.
Right.
I didn't put drives together. It was all take it deep, one play. Playing with Darnell, he was like, you got to start putting plays together. You can't keep doing that. You got to take some time off the clock. You're going to have games where you scoring 60, 75 points, but you're going to be giving up 60, 75 points because you just out there. So I always credit him for teaching me how to put drives together when I was a young pup in the game. At the 8-9 spot, you have Texas and Boise State. That game was played a little while ago. Texas came out on top in that game, so Texas moves on to play Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
So we got a user game there.
Yep. And we'll wait for Tennessee versus Texas Tech and Ohio State and Penn State to find out who moves on.
Do we know what time that Oregon Miami game is going off, and that's going off today?
It should go off today because advance is tonight. So they have 4 weeks of bowl. It's 4 weeks of bowl games, and the first round of the college playoff is this week, as well as the lower tier bowls, the Music City Bowl, Duke's Mayonnaise. Myself, I am in the First Responders Bowl.
Who are you playing in that bowl game?
I play Rice in that bowl game.
All right, and then I know Boss Man's in the Music City against Ole Miss.
Yes.
And he's got Maryland, just so for those that don't know. It's Maryland versus Ole Miss.
So you got bowl games coming up today. I got to figure out a better way to share it with the masses. But when it comes down to it,
we'll share it on the Sideline Junkies podcast tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do.
Yeah.
And every time somebody posts a link, I'll have to put it out there for everybody to see. But you're going to possibly have a user. Oh, Xavier said he in the Sun Bowl now. Who's in the Sun Bowl now? Who's in the Sun Bowl, Xavier? You might have a user versus user national championship game.
And that would be awesome.
And I think that would take precedence over everything
else. Yes, sir. So, we'd have to, if that comes out to be the play, then we'll do a special just for that game.
Update. Maryland is in the Sun Bowl. Xavier, who is he playing? Since I think you are looking at the screen, because last we checked, he was in the Music City Bowl. Who is he playing? It changed. Yes, BJ, it changed. Man, that's tough. That's tough. Waiting to get the update from Xavier. But this season has gone along very fast, of course.
And I thought, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought when I outlined this show, I was thinking like every week at most we talk about 2 games, but it seems like you guys put about 3 games in before we even get to the next episode, which is crazy in my mind, because that means a lot of guys are just putting in work and doing what they got to do to make this work. But it looks like there's a system in place, and as long as you stick to the system, everything's good.
Try to go every 48 hours, but when you get to the bowl season, which we are right now, in the off season, we're going to try to do 24 hours and try to get the off season done so we can get back to playing games. But this right here is what online play is about when you are in a community, not just a league. You're in a community. And
so, can I ask you a quick question? I don't mean to cut you off, but I know BJ was doing a thing where he was doing highlights, and I don't know if we can play the highlights, but let's see if we can figure that out. If we can do the highlights and like have a review show before y'all do the next season, before you turn it over, we can just go ahead and kind of recap everybody's best plays from the season, kind of like a highlight show.
Okay.
Just one big play everybody has, because I think it's like 8 or 9 guys in the league or whatever it is at this point. And of course, guys, we're looking for more. So if you play college football 25, you probably would have to jump in season 2, but pick your team. If nobody's picked the team that you want, you got to find somebody else. I know personally I can't use Notre Dame, or Texas.
But
So
we
I have
always
to
thought
find,
that you would use ESU.
huh?
We thought you would use ESU.
Right.
So, I had it already planned out in my head that once you jumped into this league, you were going because you can create your own team. You can take a
Then if
route
that's
and
the
create
case,
your own team.
the Anacostia Gladiators is going to be on blast. But no,
Like
I
I
think I'm gonna
told
take
you,
a team.
like I told you before the season started. Hey, you bring out the Anacostia Gladiators, the Maryland State Savages will be at your front door.
Hey, if that's the case, I ain't worried about it because I'm playing my first 3 games. I'm playing Maryland. I'm playing TCU. Those are my 2 user games. And after that, everybody else is on notice.
Okay, getting a word from Xavier. Maryland is back in the Music City Bowl, and I believe he still plays Ole Miss. I don't know what
Okay.
Xavier is.
No, he may have been looking at because he may have been playing in a different in his season mode, and I might have changed it.
But we did have a press release last night that came out late.
Yes.
Press release out of College Park, Maryland. Coach Brian Johnson announced the Terps are parting ways with their offensive coordinator. The team already has interviews lined up to fill that position. I talked to the boss DJ, camaraderie, because I'm trying to have open dialogue with other coaches in the league. And I talked to him as a coach in the league. And I asked, would it be okay to hire other coaches in the league if they got fired? I don't think he's on board for that because, I thought that Colorado Coach Xavier was going to wind up being out of a job. And
Right.
I had a spot for him on offense
At
to
Maryland.
run some things, but it's okay. It's okay. Because I can put together a 3-headed monster now. I can quit my job and I can go work at Alabama. I wouldn't want to, but I can go work at Alabama. Just saying.
For those that don't know, KG and his boy or his son Dario is at Alabama. That's why he's talking about that.
Yeah, and then bring his brother down to do special teams coordinator. We make money and we just win national championships.
Well, y'all already doing the family thing anyway because y'all done got like a conclave going. Everybody's offense looks a little similar, so y'all got some things in place already.
Well, you also have to realize that the younger generation takes a lot of staples from me,
right?
And they put their spin on them. Now, me, I'm more of a 3rd and short, 4th and short. I'm gonna come out of wishbone, and I can run the option. I can pound it up inside. I can do a lot of different things. But if I come out in that wishbone with that full house backfield, you already know what it's going to be.
Hey, big guy, we done kept these people way too long. We try to do 15 to 20 minutes. We had 35. So let's get out of here because in the motto of the Sideline Junkies, we don't do no overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out the Gridiron. I'm the Midnight Rider. My big producer, the big guy KG, came through dropping knowledge, dropping all the clips. So everything you see, the photos and all that, between him and the boss man, they provided for us. And I appreciate them for it because they didn't have to do it. The Gridiron, episode 3. We thank you for watching. Have a great night. Have a great day. Enjoy the regular college football games that are going on today. Thank you for your time, and we thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.